Hi everyone, and welcome to this Facebook Live today where I'm talking about how to get yourself moving forward if you're really struggling. And I just wanted to, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you'll know that I'm planning to do a Mother's Day run, which is on the second Sunday in May. I'm not sure exactly the date. And so to celebrate this new exciting, just a new pair of runners. These are giant hobbit feet size runners because I have enormous feet. They're really light. They're fantastic for that. And they're not really terribly horrible. Like they could be a lot worse in terms of ugly factor. So I wasn't too unhappy with that. Hi, Marnie. Thanks for joining today. And so this live video is just for the Get Out of Teaching group. And I just wanted to talk about how we overcome our own inertia. And so I was talking to my husband about this because he studied physics in high school and I certainly did not. And he actually remembered some stuff. He said I could just Google it, but the internet wasn't working. And I'm like, well, you're just as good, so I'll ask you. So he was talking about how part of the reason, what inertia is like, you know, that inability to move forward. And there's a few factors involved. So one is the mass, like the weight of the thing that you have to do. And so I'm talking about, say, a car or a train or something, getting that to move forward along its tracks or along the road. But I mean, this is a metaphor for how do we get ourselves out of our slough of despond and actually move forward into making change in our lives. And so if you can kind of hold that metaphor in your head while we're doing this, I think that'll help you to kind of get more out of it. So basically there's the mass of the object, like the car, say, or your own kind of, I don't know, unwillingness to get off your backside and do something to make change. And there's the force that's required to actually get you to move forward. And then there's other factors like resistance, so air resistance or friction if it's a train on a track. If the surface has a lot of friction, it's going to be harder to push forward. And so that's why they have those magnetic trains that sort of float above the tracks, because the less friction, the faster it can move, and the easier it is for the train to move forward, and the less force that's required for it to move forward as well. And so if you think about what we need as human beings that kind of equates to that, there's a few things. So for instance, the reason I bought these fancy new shoes was because I have arthritis in my feet, and I had little Merrill ones with a really thin sole, and they just weren't cutting it because there wasn't enough kind of padding there to support the arch and everything. And so part of it for me is just the pain. And so there's a few ways I can deal with it. I can take an anti-inflammatory before I go for a run, or I can like just meditate or convince myself that there is no pain. Or I can actually go, I feel the pain, but I'm still going to do it anyway. I'm going to push through that pain. So there's a few ways you can kind of overcome that resistance to just at a physical level. And then the other thing is, for me to do this Mother's Day run, there is no way in the world I would have even contemplated doing it. It didn't even occur to me to do it, except that one of my friends said, you should do this run with me next year, which was like last year she asked me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. And then, you know, the day's getting closer and closer. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm not ready for this. So I bought the new shoes. I've been going down to my local velodrome, which is like a track, but it's marked out with the distance. So I can see how far I'm shuffling along. And I've realized my technique is not very good, my running technique. And so maybe I need to look at some more information about how to kind of get the right, you know, push off with my feet and all that kind of stuff. And some other things that I can do to kind of minimize resistance or friction for this little project is to get enough sleep, because one of the big things to me, if I wake up tired, I am not going to go for that morning run. And if I don't go for that morning run or that little jog around the track, I am not going to be prepared for the Mother's Day run. And then I might bail out at the last minute, or I might, you know, really not do well or be really slow and keep my friend waiting. So there's this social pressure as well to continue. And then there's other self-care routines like, yeah, you know, maybe massaging my feet or something like that, or making sure that I've got all my clothes laid out ready so that there's no resistance. I remember watching a TED Talk by Sean Acorn, and he's a positive psychology kind of a bit of a guru in that field. And he talks about how in order to get himself out to the gym regularly, he would actually go to bed in his gym clothes. And that way he minimized the resistance that his own kind of mind was putting up every morning to go, because he was already dressed and ready, and all he had to do was put his shoes on. If you're a girl, there's a little bit more involved in getting dressed, and I personally don't want to go to bed in my bra, but, you know, horses for courses. So that was something that he did to help him make life a little bit easier. I know my husband lays all his stuff out ready the night before if he's planning to go to the gym or even for work, so that it's just a bit easier to get yourself ready. And the other thing I think is just to see other people who've gone before you. So I know I talked to one of the trainers at my gym, and she said that she'd done the run before, and she said how she got out of the park. It's in the botanical gardens. There's a big track, and she went up the hill, and she realised there was a hill and she didn't know about. And so that was kind of cool, because I've spoken to her now and I know to expect that. And even though I'm sure I won't be thrilled about it on the day, at least I know it's coming, and so it makes me a bit more better prepared. And so I guess, you know, if you use this analogy to think about if you want to move out of teaching, what is one thing that you could do, say, between now and next Monday that could minimize your resistance to this? And I've got a tip for you. I was thinking what would I offer people that might be a good place to start. And I think actually get out your resume and have a look, because even if you decide to go into business for yourself, it's a great exercise to do, to just map out where you've come in your career as a teacher, what your achievements have been, and where your strengths lie, and where your skill sets lie, and where your interests lie, things that you pursued as little side projects along the way in your career that might end up being something that you could tap into to set up your own business, to become a consultant, those kinds of things. That might be a really good beginning for you. And at the very least, you've got a resume ready to go. Should you decide that you just want to go back into a 9-to-5 in some other field, at least you've got something already started. So that would be my hot tip for today, to just check out your resume and see if there's anything there that you can cull and hone. I recommend to my clients that they don't go over 3 pages, and that includes referees. And if you're going to write about your, like maybe write one line underneath the names and details of your referees, just saying what it is that they're able to comment on. So they might have been a colleague in a course that you did together, or they might be your principal or another leading teacher in your school. So, you know, what are they able to comment on? Are they able to comment on your collaborative approach to teaching, or your ability to forward plan or project manage, or whatever it is that you know, the skill that you bring to the table, that they are able to sort of meaningfully comment on, not just say, oh yeah, I saw her do that, but actually, or him do that, but like really meaningfully say something helpful that will, you know, help you as if you need an actual referee for a position. But I think that's all I've got for today. I hope you're having a great, I think most people are either on school holidays in Australia, certainly we are, or they're on spring break. So I hope you're having a great one, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care. Bye.